What's going on, guys? It's your man, Ed Hayes, the wholesale coach here, back for another podcast. And in this podcast, guys, I'm going to be giving you my 2019 cold calling tips and strategies, guys. And this is going to be exclusive to my Anchor podcast. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the podcast, I'm dropping exclusive gems on here only. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into these cold calling tips and strategies. By the end of this podcast, guys, you will know my top 8 tips for cold calling, as well as how to overcome objections that you always hear when you get on these cold calls, guys. So stay with me. Let's go ahead and dive into this content. All right, guys, so this list will not be exhaustive. There's no one perfect way to cold call. So what matters most is that you be natural and you build a connection with the seller. Okay, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So tip number 1 is smiling when you're talking on the phone. When you smile on the phone, you exude that energy over the phone. Like they can feel your positive energy. You're letting them know that you're a trustworthy person. And it's hard to feel nervous when you smile, when you're talking on the phone. It just makes you feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more at home. Tip number two is mirroring. When you're talking to people, make sure you remind them of themselves. Like, people like to do business with people that remind them of themselves. If they talk slow, you talk slow. If they're talking fast and upbeat, then you talk fast and upbeat. Hey, what's going on? Haha, yeah, I hear you. Just like that. Like, you want to be natural and comfortable. And that goes right into tip number 3, which is be yourself. No one wants to be talking to a robot or someone that's obviously trying to sell them something. Remember, when you're calling them, you're calling to put money in their pockets. You don't have to sound extra professional or too salesy. You just want to be you. Just trust in your training and know they're just another person on the phone. Okay, so just be yourself. That's tip number 3. So tip number 4 is feel confident. People can feel your nervousness through the phone. So, like, you have to have the mentality that you believe that you're the person who can change things for the caller. You have to be confident of your capabilities. People will feel your confidence and trust in you. Like, remember that you're adding value to their lives when you're calling them. So don't panic. Take risks on the phone if you need to. Get bold if necessary. Like, really, don't be afraid to make these calls. Nothing bad can actually happen, okay? Tip number 5 is be patient and understanding. After calling 100 people and getting cursed out a few times, you may feel a little disgruntled. But don't allow that emotion to spill onto the next phone call with your next lead. Keep your emotions in check throughout this entire process. That's important. Understand it's in everyone's best interest to try to get the most money that they can for their property and to buy it for as low as possible. So don't take offense to this. It's business. It's not personal. So you have to be ready for that. Like, be patient, be understanding. Understand everyone has their own objective or intention when it comes to these deals. Everyone wants to win. Also, okay, tip number 6, guys, is that these calls, they don't hurt. You have to make the calls. It's not gonna hurt you to make the calls. The worst thing that can happen is they say no. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Take risks when you're on the phone. The most important thing you could be doing if you're a wholesaler is making contacts with sellers and buyers. And that goes into tip number 7, guys, which is conversions matter. Okay. We're in the business where our conversion rates may be like as low as 1 to 5%. So you need to make a ton of calls if you want to get paid. Like, make sure you enjoy the process and stay consistent. That's important. Fall in love with the actual process of calling these people. Turn it into a game. I mean, like, you're going to face a lot of rejection, but you have to keep going. Those conversion numbers really, really matter. So think to yourself that every 300 calls may turn into 1 to 2 deals. So keep that in mind when you're calling people. Even if you get 20 phone numbers in a row that are disconnected or whatever it may be, just know that out of 300 calls, you should be getting 1 or 2 deals that actually flow through your pipeline and turn into an actual deal. And I'm actually going to be making a video kind of breaking that down a little bit more coming soon, guys. So subscribe if you aren't already. And lastly, guys, tip number 8 that I have for you today is deep diving into problems. Listen to what they're actually saying. You got to make sure that you're empathizing with these people and being understanding of what's coming out of their mouth. So when they're telling you specifics about what they're dealing with, ask them to tell you more about it. Be relatable and interested in what they have going on. All right, so those are my 8 tips. Now let's dive into some common objections or questions that you may have to overcome when you're trying to get these deals.
What's up, guys? It's Ed here. Just want to take a brief moment out of this podcast to tell you about one of our sponsors, and that's Spotify, guys. So if you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app and search for the Wholesaling Mastermind on Spotify, or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. Also, make sure that you follow me so you never miss an episode of the Wholesaling Mastermind, guys. Now let's go ahead. Let's get back into this content.
Through cold calling. So one of the questions that you may get, and I'm sure everyone that's actually made more than like 5 to 10 phone calls have heard this already. How did you get my phone number? What I typically like to tell them is I use a service online that gives me the numbers to places I'm interested in. So I figured I'd reach out to you to see if you're interested in selling. So like I always divert back to the reason why I called. That's the most important thing. I always divert back to why you called. You don't want to just leave it open-ended and get asked more questions. You kind of want to redirect their attention to the reason why you called. Number 2. What's your offer? How much are you trying to pay for the place before you've actually went out to go see the place? So what I typically tell them, well, I like to get an offer on. I like to get you an offer on a property, but I need to know more about it. Like if you have a few minutes, I like to ask you a few questions about the property so I can get you a legitimate offer. Is that okay? And they typically like, yeah, that's cool. So that's tip number 2 for the common objections, how to handle that. What's your offer? Like you really want to be going out to go see these properties. So you don't want to get rushed and put on the spot. Like if they trying to rush you, you got to redirect them to, hey, I need to get more information. Okay. So number 3 on the objections is what's your business name or website? So this is like when you don't have one already, this is something you're going to have to tackle beforehand. Okay, so one good way to get established online is to buy your domain name, your .com, then get an email address that goes along with that. So it'll be like you@yourbusinessname.com. Then you just set up a quick website on WordPress or Google Sites for free, and then connect your domain name to your new website and have a business email listed on that site. Voila. Boom, there you go right there. So that's a way to get a website up and rolling for pretty much free outside of the cost of the domain name, which is actually optional. That'll run you about $12, and then the email will cost you about $5, and the website is free. So there you go. All right. And then lastly, the earnest money question. When people ask you the earnest money questions, like, do you got the earnest money? Like how much money are you trying to put down? A lot of times if they're asking for earnest money, they aren't very motivated to begin with. Okay. So, but if you had to put up some money down, if you had to put some money down, I would put down between $10 to $100. If you don't have any money to put down, what I tell them is we don't put earnest money down because we close quickly and we're paying cash. We can lock this property up quick though if you're still interested. So you always want to redirect them back. Always remember that. Always redirect to what you want to talk about once you give them the answer. Then your best bet is to not even mention anything about the earnest money. Many times they don't even know what it is and they don't care. And then also keep in mind though that some title companies may require you to put a deposit of a certain amount to actually process the transaction. So keep that in mind. All right, guys. So that is it as far as the tips that I got for you today, guys. That's my 2019 cold calling strategies. Just some food for thought for you. I hope that this quick little guide actually helps you along the way to getting these deals closed. I got a ton more strategies and a bunch of IRL videos on my YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out already, go ahead and head over there. Anyway, though, guys, if you need some motivated seller leads so you can get up and rolling and you can start making these cold calls yourself, definitely check out my website, www.motivatedsellerleads.org. That's my personal website. And when you order there, guys, what I'm going to do is personally curate you a list of leads for you. You just fill out a quick form, tell me your areas and the types of leads that you're looking for, and I process those for you. So that's just for you all, guys. You don't have to do that. If you need leads, though, they are available to you. All right, I'm trying to help you all out as much as possible on my website. I got contracts, I got a course, I got a ton of different things to actually help you all out. So I hope that these cold calling strategies help. If you need anything else, head over to the website, guys. Anyway, I hope that you like this content, guys. Keep grinding. I hope these tips and strategies help you along the way to getting some deals closed. If it helped, definitely hit that like button. If you're not already a part of this team, hit that subscribe button. I make videos about wholesaling deals and strategies at least once a week, sometimes more. So I look forward to seeing you all in the next video or the next podcast. And until next time, guys, you already know I am out. I've got one more bonus strategy for you, and that strategy is when you get on the phone call with people, make sure that you get right into it. You've got to crush the first 7 seconds of this phone call. You don't want to be waiting a long time to let them know why you called. So immediately right into the phone call, you want to be letting them know like, hey, my name is Ed Hayes. I was calling to try to see if you would be interested in selling your property at 123 Main Street. Like, you want to get right. So there you go, guys. A quick bonus strategy if you stayed to this point. I hope that you liked this content. If you did, like I said before, subscribe to the channel. And once again, I am out.